Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the tune Blues for Alice. This is a 12-bar blues written by Charlie Parker, or Bird, and we call this a Bird blues because of the chord changes. There's a lot of different chord changes in this type of song as opposed to a traditional 12-bar blues or even a normal jazz blues. So first off, we're going to jump right into the chords since they are so different and the melody tends to outline each chord. So we're going to start off with the one chord, which is an F major 6 chord. You can also play an F major 7 chord. Here's an F major 6, and then we're going to go to a 2/5 to D minor, G7, C minor, or C minor 7, F7, or F7 flat 9, really any altered F chord. And then we're finally at the 4 chord. This is the normal 4 chord in a 12-bar blues, the B flat. So let's run through that again real quick. We have the 1 chord, which can be played as a 6 or a major 7 instead of a dominant 7th chord. And then we have a minor 2/5 to the 6 chord. And that becomes a 2/5 as well. And then we have another 2/5. And that resolves to B flat, the 4 chord. Now, after the 4 chord, instead of staying on this for 2 measures, we're going to make it minor in the 2nd measure, and then E flat. It becomes a 2/5. We take that down a half step, another 2/5. We'll take that down a half step, and then eventually we'll end on the G minor, the actual 2 chord, and then our regular 5 chord, the C7. And then we're back to the 1 chord and we can do a traditional turnaround. 1, 6, 2, 5. Okay, so that's the gist of the chords. You can see they're pretty different from a regular 12-bar blues. There's a lot of 2/5s throughout, and there's a lot of chromaticism as well. So whenever you're soloing over this, you want to try to outline those chords. You can practice the arpeggios, practice the different modes, the F major scale, Mixolydian, Dorian, all those different modes are going to come in handy whenever you're playing this. But you really want to outline those different chord shapes and outline the different arpeggios and add some chromaticism around those arpeggios. And that's kind of what is happening in the melody. So let's jump into the melody. We're going to play it really slowly. It starts on F and it goes down in F arpeggio. Okay, so as you can see, there's a lot going on in the melody. So let's break it down a little bit. We have our first part. Okay, so that's over the F and then the 2/5 leading into the D minor. Starts on the F. It outlines most of these arpeggios. Now this note right here, it's actually over the E minor 7 flat 5, and I think in the melody or in the head that they're actually playing an E minor 7th instead of an E minor 7 flat 5. But once they start soloing, they kind of change it because it just makes a little bit more sense. But that B note right there can clash a little bit if you're playing an E minor 7 flat 5. So you can keep that in mind during the melody or during the head. You could play an E minor 7th if you wanted to. So here it is again. Okay, so this is over the D minor. And then we go up in E flat major 7 arpeggio and then flatten that 7th. And I'm kind of sweeping through that. Okay, so this is kind of a strange section right here. I'm doing a little triplet, hammer on and pull off, flatten the finger. And this you have to jump over a string. So it's the flat 7 and the root of the 4 chord, the B flat. Okay. So a little chromatic enclosure right there. Leading into the G minor. Now, Charlie Parker does these little grace notes. You can leave them out if you want to, especially if it's at a fast tempo. It might be a little bit difficult to put those in there. Now on this last part, some people play an F note instead of an E. I was hearing an E in the recording. It's really hard to hear that note in particular. It's kind of ghosted, so it's really difficult to discern if it's an F or an E, but you can try either or. Okay, so that's the last bit right there. Okay, really angular melody. So it's kind of a tough one to get all these notes and to memorize this, but I would recommend going slowly, get each section, try it out at a slow tempo. You can even slow down the recording, the original recording of Charlie Parker playing it. It's going to sound an octave higher, which is another way that you can play this melody. You can definitely play it up here. I chose to play it in the middle range of the guitar because it sounds nice and warm in this middle range. And if you're going to play with horn players, it works pretty well. So you're not kind of in the same frequency as those horn players. Okay, so work on the chords, work on the melody to this. As far as soloing, like I said, you have to practice your different modes. You have to practice the F major scale because this one is in the key of F. You can't really use the F blues scale like you would typically do in an F blues. It's going to clash a lot because there's not really an F7 chord. It's more of an F major or an F major 7 or F6. So it's more based around the major scale. You can throw in some blues licks, but I would practice the major scale and each mode according to the chord. So Dorian for minor, Mixolydian for the 7th chords, and so on. All right, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like and subscribe button. I have a PDF and a backing track for this video available on my Patreon page, so you can check that out. I have a link in the description below. Thanks again.